What's up, everybody? I'm Will Peterson from the Backcountry. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button right down there so you don't miss a single video upload. We've got content for days, endurance and outdoor stories from the most inspiring people out there. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. All right. Lucas Janulitis, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on.
I appreciate it. Yeah. First up, I guess thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be on the podcast. I'm a big fan. So
Being on the pod is the biggest honor there is.
yeah, no, for sure.
Even bigger than why you're on here, which is because you won last year's standing, which is an insane, ridiculous event that sounds awful to me, but you freaking sent it. What I guess right off the bat, so we're recording this on February 15th, so it's been 10 days since it finished, or a week, or
like 5 or 6 days, yeah. So
5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
A lot better actually than I thought it would. So my legs actually feel really good. There's just a few blisters that I'm still healing up, but I mean, I went skiing yesterday, and they're good enough for that. So
Wait, I also saw that you ran the Mount Washington road race or something like that.
it was the Race the Cog and the
Race the Cog
Skimo thing. So
that's so ridiculous. What, like, I can't imagine. Were you just dying? How fatigued are you? Let's start there.
I don't know. I guess my legs just maybe still feel a little bit heavy, but I guess not too fatigued. I mean, I got caught up on sleep, I think, throughout the week, and I was able to do that. So, and I've been eating well since the event. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably a little bit slower than usual, but I know Jonathan, that was like the last time he's gonna do that race, so I didn't want to miss out because it's
Sure.
a pretty unique event.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds really cool. So my sort of ignorant understanding of last year's standing is that it seems to me that the barrier to entry fitness wise is like pretty low, right? Because I feel like a decently, a decently fit sort of competitor at the top end can get a lap done in 30-35 minutes, somewhere in there, and then you're just sitting around for a long time. Like, what do you feel for most people like the limiting factor ends up being a strength or a physical thing, or is it mental, sleep deprivation, emotional? What's your take on that?
I guess so. This is my third time doing it. First, so I got on like lighter skis every year. Last year, I think my problem was sleep deprivation. Kind of just couldn't stay awake like the start of that, like the third night. But this year I felt a lot better. But yeah, so I think for other people, it's definitely a mental thing. I see like very few people kind of quit for physical limitations. But yeah, it's kind of in your head, and it really depends how much like you plan ahead and kind of prepare mentally. That's a big part of it too.
So how did you prepare mentally? Is there a I mean, you're becoming a seasoned pro at these sort of last person standing multi-day events. Is there sort of a protocol that you go through pre-race to get mentally ready, or what does your prep look like in the in the mental sphere?
I don't know if I do any like sit down like mental preparation, but it's kind of just like during my training, I kind of just think about what it'd be like. I know sometimes like for the physical side, I start a long training session with like a fast like effort to kind of simulate the fatigue that I'll have later on in an event. But it's mainly kind of just thinking about what it would be like and just making sure that I keep asking myself the same questions, when things get hard, and just to keep going, because it's not going to last forever. So you can always just go a little bit further, right?
Sure. How close do you feel like you were to your limit on this?
So it ended like at like 71 hours, so it was the third morning. So every morning, at least I felt like really good, because it just the sunlight just really helps after a long night. So I felt like I think I at least could have gone through that day. But I mean, you never know. things can pop up like really quickly. But yeah, I think
So
I got lucky.
this is something that I've heard Andrew talk about quite a bit, Mr. Drummond, and it's a curious thing because I'm with you. I feel like when mornings come around, I tend to have a boost of energy, and it's sort of in the beginning hours of the night where I usually have a low, like pre midnight, like 11 o'clock. There's just like you're not even to the morning yet, but there's so much more. But Andrew's talking about how a lot of people seem to drop it like at first light when a new morning comes around. Do you have a sense for why that is? Because I would think that most people would drop right when the sun sets, but it seems like a lot of people are able to find their way through the night. Like, do you think people are burning all of their mental candles, getting through the night, and then just collapse when the sun rises, or what do you think is going on?
Yeah, it could be for sure. They just maybe just they just want to really make it to that sunrise, and then that was like their main goal, and then maybe um once they did that, they've had enough, But that's never been my situation. Whenever the sun comes up, it's like I could never like quit during the day. I don't think,
Yeah.
no matter how bad things are.
And so taking a sort of more broad look at what you've done in this event. This is your third year in a row doing it, if I'm correct. And your first year was 35, 36 hours, and then last year was 60, and then this year is 71. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So that's a big growth year to year. What do you um obviously you've learned things along the way. What do you think has been the key factor to getting you those big gains every year?
So probably the biggest difference between the first and second year was like my skis probably weighed half as much as the first year, but then and I got an even lighter setup for this year. Um, but yeah, aside from that, I think I've just like been keeping up like the same training, like skiing in the winter and then
Hmm.
a lot of trail running in the summer months. But I also I think developed a better like nutrition plan, and I kind of know better what works for me. Um, so that's been another big improvement that I think I've made, been able to learn about myself. So,
How has your nutrition changed over the years?
uh, not so much that it's changed, I guess. Well, it has changed a lot, but maybe like I was eating less real food in the first years.
Mm.
Because like for an event this long, I think it's important to have real food. So, um, and I guess so. The first year, I don't think I was plant-based, but then past 2 years, I actually switched to like pretty much fully plant-based now, which
Oh,
um,
interesting.
so I don't do it for the animals. It's like it's for the like the athletic gains, but
Hmm.
I've definitely noticed a really big improvement since I changed. So
What kind of improvements have you noticed?
uh, I guess just more endurance, like
Oh,
faster race times and stuff like that. But
interesting.
so I think it's like easier to digest. Um, do take like supplements for iron and vitamin D, but that's about it. And then I'm pretty much all set with everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. That's really interesting. And
Yeah.
um, so you've been doing this event for a while. You've also been doing Bubba's the last couple. I think you've done two now, right? And that's the only time I've ever met you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you're from my recollection, you're like a pretty big, tall guy, right?
yeah. I'm 6'4".
So do you consider that a benefit or a like is it an advantage or a disadvantage to be larger than everyone else?
I don't know. I think it has its pros and cons, right? Like I know there's a lot of famous ultra runners that have a similar build, like Francois or something,
Uh,
but I just try to think of them or something that, like, no, it's not the wrong, like, it's not bad to be tall for this kind of sport, but I mean, I think it's and it helps. I think some ways that I have longer legs, you can get more steps and stuff. But
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I could see it going either way. It was like
yeah,
you've got I mean likely I guess you don't necessarily have more weight to carry, but I would imagine you probably do, knowing like the runner friends I know who are like 6'3" and above are just like even if they're really fit, they're like 200 pounds, and that's you just have more weight to carry. Um, but you also have yeah, like you said, a much bigger stride length, and um, you can and more potential muscle mass too, I would imagine. So it's interesting. It's interesting dichotomy there. John Kelly, I talked to John Kelly a little bit about um, different sizes of ultra runners, and his take is that the more unsupported you get, maybe the more it's advantage to be bigger and taller because you can carry more weight. But I don't,
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I
But
don't, I'm not sure.
I guess if you're smaller though, you don't need as much maybe
Yeah, maybe
calories wise. But
that's potentially true. Um, Interesting. So where did you start this year for planning for this? Like, did you when you got done with the event last year, did you know that you were going to come back and try again?
um, probably not like right after, but maybe like a month after. I felt like I had to come back. So, but yeah, I mean, once last year's standing is over, I usually kind of finish off the ski season, and then kind of start focusing on trail running.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think about a month after I kind of thought about it and thought I still had some more left to prove. So when the sign up came up, I knew I had to do it again.
Sure. What place did you come in last year?
I think fifth last year.
Fifth. Okay. And so, I guess what is in past years, what have been the things that have taken you out of the race?
So last year, I guess the main thing that took me out was sleep, but I had a lot of problems also with digestion too,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thing I was able to fix this year, which I was really happy about. Just a really big weight off my shoulders for sure, because it can get really painful, and I know it's not a good reason to quit, but it gets pretty bad. So it was
Yeah,
really
I
nice to
mean,
figure that out.
yeah, it sounds painful.
Yeah.
That what did you do differently in terms of sleep to figure that part out?
Um, so it's like at night, sometimes if I got really tired, I would, do a faster lap, maybe like 35 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Then I'd be able to take more of like a 15-minute nap, which not that I would probably sleep, but it'd just be good to lay down, and just close my eyes for a bit. Yeah.
Okay. So what did the average? Because again, my ignorant like presumption is that the laps are 30 or 35 minutes, but it sounds like that might not be the case. It sounds like they might be a little slower. What is the the standard last year standing lap?
Um, Say probably average for everyone, or for me at least, about 40 minutes maybe.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but I mean, maybe my fastest was like 33 to 35 minutes or something like that. But yeah, I mean, even at a 40-minute lap, I think that's plenty of time to do anything you really need to,
Sure.
right at the end. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you were found yourself able to fall asleep in those 20 extra minutes.
yeah, for sure. And I guess another thing, I don't know if you want to talk about it later, but so like caffeine is also really big thing. So I don't normally take caffeine like on regular days. And so for this event, I didn't take any the first night, and then I started a little bit the second night and kind of ramped it up on the third night.
Okay.
But yeah, I had to be careful because at Bubba's last year I took I think too much at once, and my heart rate just kind of shot up really badly. So
Mm,
that's another thing I think I improved on this time.
titrating it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. So even though you're taking it at night, you felt like you were able to sleep in between laps because that's my struggle with caffeine is that I feel like I can get into I usually take caffeine more in the early morning after I've already slept or like during the day, and then I try to wean off it a little bit come the night to try to make myself more sleepy. But I guess that's also on efforts where it's more where I can get more extended sleep blocks. Whereas it's got to be tricky on something where you're getting these 15-minute sleep blocks, you know, every couple of hours. How do you decide when to take caffeine and when not to?
Um, I guess I try to take it like in the later stages of the night, like early morning. Maybe if I try to sleep before it, like you were saying, that would help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just so I can get better sleep before I start the caffeine, and then when I start the caffeine, I don't need to sleep as much. But yeah, I think that worked pretty well for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's interesting.
but
And
yeah,
what?
it was interesting. Sorry to make
Oh,
it
go
through the
ahead.
first night without without any sleep. It was tough, but I knew it'd pay off for the second and third nights.
What what was your thought process of avoiding sleep the first night? Like why'd you do that?
Um, but I didn't avoid sleep. I tried to sleep. I've avoided taking caffeine. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay, sorry.
yeah. But that I think definitely helped because um, I mean my body just had it like fresh the next night.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
So what did training look like for this?
Um, I don't know. Like a lot of long sessions. Like I think my longest one was like 13 to 14,000 feet of vert. So
Mm.
I mean, not even close to the total gain of this event, but still, you're not gonna really do like even like maybe 40% of it. But yeah, I also did like a lot of like 4 to 5 hour stairmaster sessions, which I think definitely helped. Kind of, and that was a good like mental training, like I was saying, just grinding it out.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure. God, I can't imagine, dude. I've been on the stair stepper a lot recently, and at about 2.5 hours, I get so bored. I can't imagine doing
yeah,
double that. It sounds awful.
no, it gets tough, but no, you just kind of think about why you're doing it, and then you just get through it.
Yeah. What did your volume look like?
Um, I guess biggest weeks maybe 15 to 20 hours
Okay.
before, but maybe yeah, probably not over 20 hours. But I definitely did a bigger taper because this event is really important. I think it's important to have a big taper
Hmm.
because you have to be as rested as possible
Hmm.
before coming into it.
Did you did you have any sort of vert goals or mileage goals, or were you mostly training off time on a feet?
Yeah, pretty much time my feet. I know I kind of looked at my training schedule from last year when I did the 60 laps and kind of went off of that and kind of like timed out my um longer sessions
Mm.
on the weekends. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, I had some like guidelines for vert, but yeah, usually it's kind of like hours I do instead of like vert or distance because
Sure.
it's hard to kind of like measure skiing with distance or even vert
Hmm.
because there's like a lot of different like it depends on where you're doing it and stuff. It can be harder, easier and stuff. So
Yep. And so when you're planning this event in the lead up, what considerations do you put into like gear? What's important? You don't have to list every single piece of gear, but what is important to you when you put together the kit of I need X amount of warm clothes or changes of clothes. I need so many skins, so many pairs of skis if you use more than one. I don't know, but like walk me through sort of how you build out your kit.
yeah, so I guess one of the biggest things for this event is like the boots and liners because if you don't take care of your feet, then things can go bad really quickly.
Mm.
So I had 2 pairs of liners that worked really well, and my crew was able to dry them out. Um, so I changed them out like maybe every 10 or so laps as they got wet, and socks maybe every 5 or so laps. Um, and then I'd add 3 pairs of skins too, which definitely helped. Just for peace of mind. I only think I used 2 of them, but it's good to have that third spare in case I needed it. But yeah, there wasn't really any issues with skin sticking,
It's
which
nice.
was good. So, but yeah, I guess other than that, a big thing that I changed from last year and the year before, I'd had a waist light, which I did use at Bubba's. That definitely helped like stay awake as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the brightness is just I don't know, just really helps and like the my peripheral vision kind of just like my eyes are just able to see better. So
Sure.
that's a big thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. The waist lights provide so much more spread than the headlights do.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So what did your crew look like? Who supported you?
Oh yeah, so that was my sister and Nida and then Tommy Hayes. So he's a friend from college. And yeah, they did great. They were able to kind of take shifts, go to the hotel, sleep. So they were able to stay fresh, for the most part. But yeah, they put in an awesome effort, just like me. So
Awesome. And
uh,
so what were they doing in between laps? Like, Do you have a protocol for like drying skins or drying boots or um, like what nutrition they need to get out for you? Like what's the setup?
Yeah, so I have like a list of like every lap of what I kind of need to eat, which I've done for past events, but it kind of worked out for this one.
Hmm.
Um, and so they were able to know kind of what I needed that next lap. Um, and it also helps because like they didn't have to ask me like what do you want? What do you want? Because like if you get really deep into an event, it can be hard to know what you want yourself, and if that's like the right thing that you need at that point. So it's kind of I think good to plan that plan that out ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then with the liners, they were able to just kind of um have like a boot like liner dryer, so they were able to just put it on the dryer
Nice.
whenever I had them done. So
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So coming into the event, I'm always interested in hearing about people's mindsets. Were you coming into this event thinking like what was the mantra? Was it I am going to win this? Was it I'm going to push myself as far as I can? Did you have a number in mind that like I really want to reach X number? What was the what was the tagline for this event?
um yeah, I guess I had a few, but I guess the main thing first I just wanted to get to 60 laps like I did last year, just make
Mhm.
sure I can do it still. And then I guess at that point just kind of um see how I'm feeling, and then um if I'm feeling good enough to finish, then just do whatever it takes to get to that point, pretty much.
Sure. Did you are you one of those people who will stock the like the entrant list and pick out people who you think are gonna be hard to beat, or do you not really care?
Oh yeah, I won't lie. I did look at it a few times just to look, but yeah, I wasn't I guess too worried, but
And
yeah,
so coming into the event, who were the names where you're like, oh man, they're gonna give me a run?
yeah. So I know Jacob did a big effort a couple years ago, and then obviously Ben Lane did 66 laps last year, so yeah, he could have been ready to do something really big as well. So um, yeah, I think those are the two main ones, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people on there that were ready to go deep.
Were there any people that came out of nowhere that didn't have a radar on, but showed up and put out a really good effort?
Yeah, probably Forrest. I think he was third. But yeah, he did a great effort, and he wasn't even on like the skimo skis. He was on like I think 78 millimeter skis. So yeah, he did an awesome job as well.
Yeah, that's great. And so, okay, so let's take it by day because you got three days here essentially.
Yes.
1 hour shy. Are you are you sad that it went 1 hour shy of 3 days? Or are you okay with 71?
No, I'm obviously okay with 71. I mean, it would have been cool to get 72 or the record, but no, 71 is it's
So
definitely plenty just to make
what
to
was
that
the
third
record?
sunrise. I think Justin did 76 last year.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Um, okay, so day one. Um, I know there was some talk about potential weather coming in, and then obviously day one is a very interesting time because it's if it's anything like Bubba's, I'm assuming it's very lively. There's a lot of spirit. There's a lot of people. Um, obviously there's a lot more sort of action in terms of dropping out at the beginning. But um, what what are what's your mindset day one? Just knowing that there's so much, it's there's all this excitement. It's the beginning, but for you, the race doesn't really start until 60 laps or whatever.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. So the first day, I guess, yeah, it's like you said, that like anticipation of like what's to come. Just making sure like you do everything right. You don't go too fast right now. You like stick to your food plan, like kind of just like preparing myself for like what's to come kind of in the future, because just making sure I don't like overdo anything, don't like make any weird movements, pull something that I don't want to or something. But
Sure.
yeah.
How do you this is a random tangent, but I just came to my head. How do you keep warm in between laps?
So yeah, actually that's interesting. The first night, we had a tent outside. Um, so it got kind of cold, but I mean, I just put on like a big puffy jacket and then a sleeping bag on top. But then the second day we were actually able to move inside. There was like a little lodge,
Nice.
so we were able to move like our everything inside, and it was like nice and heated, and it's really nice to go inside every at the end of every lap and kind of warm up. And then when I leave, I just put on that same puffy. There's like a little loop I do to warm up, and then give the puffy to my crew, and then do the rest of the lap pretty much. So it
There's
worked
a
out
loop.
pretty well.
Is the loop like part of the official loop?
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah. So you do a loop. It's maybe like a quarter mile, and then you kind of go back through the start finish line.
Okay, that's nice. I thought you were just adding on extra miles to warm up. That would have
Yeah.
been absolutely unhinged.
Yeah.
So what was the weather like on day one?
Uh, I guess I think like 20s or something, like pretty like a regular kind of like a winter day. Yeah, nothing too crazy. But
Okay.
it's definitely a nice day.
Yep. Uh, Drummond and Monty keeping the stoke high.
Oh yeah,
Any
yeah.
did you get sucked into any cash laps?
Yeah, actually, I think it was lap 58, 59, but but yeah, me and Forrest actually, we were feeling good, so we kind of paced each other. It was at night, so it kind of helps to have two people to go for it,
Yeah, yeah, that's
to
awesome.
kind of help each other out. But yeah,
Man, why don't they? That would be like doing a cash lap at Bubba's on like lap 34. That would be awesome. I don't know why they
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah, they should, because then it's like a little higher chance that you can win it, right?
Yeah, exactly. All the fast guys are at the beginning.
Yeah,
Cool. So sounds like lap one went, or not lap one, day one went relatively smooth, but it's just sort of anticipation
yeah,
of, there's still a long way to go. Day two, I would imagine, is some of the hardest mentally because you're so far in, like, you're in the 30-hour range. I would imagine you're thinking, wow, I've been doing this for so long, but I'm probably not even halfway yet. Like, what is day two like for you?
yeah. It's kind of that same like grind, just making sure I stick to my food plan. But yeah, like you said, the 30s, I guess even late 20s, 30s, and 40s can kind of be just tough because they kind of seem never ending, and it's important to be patient for those laps, just because there's still a lot of people in the event. So
Mm,
you kind of just have to keep doing your own thing, and just knowing that people are going to drop eventually, pretty much. So
sure.
um, yeah,
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 interesting.
but yeah. I mean, so like previous years, like I had like pretty bad lows, like at night and even during the days. But like this year, I kind of just liked out pretty much. I guess didn't really have anything that was too bad, aside from getting kind of sleepy at night. But
Hmm. Interesting. What do you attribute that to? Better sleep, better nutrition, mixture?
yeah, probably it's a mixture of everything. I guess one thing with the digestion, not a sponsor, but I took B now, which I think definitely helped me with the bloating.
What is that?
It's like an enzyme, I think, that helps with like digest complex carbs or something.
Hmm.
But it really helped me a lot.
I might
So
have to get that from you because
yeah,
I do some of my formulas are complex carb formulas, and sometimes my stomach gets pretty wonky. So
yeah.
uh, that's interesting. Um, okay, and then day two, how is the um how is your body holding up at that point? Are you like what are your feet look like? Are you getting any chafing, any strained muscles, or like what is the status?
It's a weird thing, like with the last year standing, the muscles, at least for me, my legs don't ever really get sore, I guess. So, the only soreness I felt, was actually like the first night where like I had my right hip flexor like really start to bother me, like on
Mm,
every step, which is really weird. And usually when that happens, it gets worse, but this one, it kind of just went away. So I was like massaging it, and I actually put some hand warmers in my pocket, I think, to warm it up a little. So I think that helped. So
that's
yeah,
interesting.
it went away. So that was really nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's bizarre that sometimes these little tweaks that we get take us out of the race, and sometimes it's just like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah,
It's a footnote, and you don't know which one it's going to be.
exactly. Yeah.
It's bizarre. Um, and so how many people are left come night two?
Uh, just say maybe 30, 35 or something. I'm not exactly sure, But
Okay.
yeah, still like quite a bit. I guess compared to like the top 10 or 5. Yeah, it's just it's interesting to see everyone's like feeling and see everyone's like body language of compared to how they started, for sure.
So that was my next question is like, what is what is the general vibe of the group on night two? Because I would imagine day one's a party, night one's probably still a party, and then day two's probably kind of still like I would imagine it's getting like trending downhill a little bit, but probably still a party because people are they've got the sunlight and they're feeling good. I would imagine night two starts to be a little bit harder. Like what's the group vibe like on night two?
I think it's really like depends on the person, right? So like some people start getting like really talkative, and then others people like I get like pretty silent, I think, or I'm usually always pretty silent, but yeah, some people talk a lot, you know. But yeah, it really just depends on like the energy and stoke level. But like a big telltale sign of like people like getting tired I saw was like the way that they use their poles is actually kind of interesting. So like if you're doing like the close to your body like the strong thrust, or if you like have them further away, then you can kind of tell that someone's maybe struggling a little bit more. But
What do you mean having them further away?
or like from their body, so like they're kind of like like I guess like stirring the pot or something, like not really using them to propel yourself up, just like kind of having them there.
Oh,
But
interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
um, you know, it's just like a little thing, I guess, that I maybe noticed. But
Yeah. And where did you throughout the first and second day, did you other than to get more sleep during the night, did you vary up your lap times very much, or were you pretty consistent in that sort of 40-ish minute range, 45?
yeah, I'd say it's pretty consistent. Maybe I did a few faster ones, just to get a longer nap in or something if I needed one. But yeah, I stayed pretty much in that 40, closer probably to, like the average up at night was maybe like 45 for me. But my faster ones were maybe under 40, so then I could get like a longer nap in, or change my liners and socks and stuff like that,
Sure.
which
Yeah,
helped.
yeah. That makes sense. Um, and then okay, so where you battle through night two, um, and then it's morning on day three, but you're around the 48-hour mark. Uh, what are things like come then? Has like is drum are Drummond and Monty even having fun at this point, or do they want to go home?
I don't know. I think they're definitely excited. Everyone's kind of just gets a boost, I think, in the sunrise. And I
Yeah.
know the second sunrise is always a really fun one because that's usually when a lot of people usually dropped out by then. So
Hmm.
it's kind of just cool to be skinning with like a few people at that point and kind of think about how many people dropped already. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be interesting.
yeah,
And and so yeah, the herd starts thinning, and um, by then, do you start to develop a sense of who is in this thing for the long haul, like of the people that are left?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can tell, like some people are saying, oh yeah, I just, I want to get to like 55, just want to get to 60 or something, and then I'm done or something. So you can kind of tell, and then other people just wanted to, like Jacob, for example, like he just wanted to go like until he couldn't, right?
Yep.
So it was pretty obvious and exactly what he did. But yeah. Oh yeah, so another thing on the second night was we got like maybe like 4 to 5 inches of snow, which maybe made it like a little bit slower on the up and down. We had to set more of a skin track, but it definitely helped. It was a mental boost, I think, because the skiing was just a lot more fun on the way down. It was a good change from it wasn't icy before, but it's just nice to have softer snow.
Yeah, sure, but it's also like I I'm sure at night with the headlamps on, it's hard to see when you're skiing down in active snowfall, and like how and you're really tired at that point.
Yeah.
Like how do you make sure that you don't just careen into the woods and or hit a bump, or I don't know. I feel like I'd be even under normal conditions, I feel like I'd be so terrified of letting my skiing become sloppy. Like, was that a concern for you at all?
Not really, no. So like everyone I talked to, pretty much said the same thing that like if you're skiing downhill, like no matter how tired you are, you're not gonna fall asleep while you're skiing down. Because you know just that the cold wind or whatever just it really just wakes you up. It's kind of like a fight or flight response, I guess, in some ways.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it felt pretty safe. And I guess another thing like skiing during the snow at night, that waist light, like I turned my headlight off and then just used my waist light, and that
Right.
didn't like reflect the snow as much, so that helped a lot.
Yeah, that is nice. It's kind of like a fog light.
Yeah.
That's cool. And okay, so we work through day two. How much vert is in each lap?
Uh, though I think 1100 feet,
1,100
like
feet. So
average, maybe a little over. Yeah.
by the time the sun sets on night three, you're looking at what, like 60,000 vert somewhere in there?
Yeah, 65 at like 10 p.m. on Sunday, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you've now more than double Everested.
Yeah.
That's so silly. I can't. I can't with how silly that is. And like, what is? Because at some point, right? You get by. I think what I would really struggle with is you get by the 60 laps, right? Which is where you were last year. It was a goal of yours. I was like, I want to get by 60 laps to prove to myself I still can do it. And then you sort of enter the territory of I'm just gonna go until I can't go anymore. I have always found that to be like a really tough mental space to be in, where it's like I'm not. There's no definitive, tangible thing that I'm shooting for. It's just like go forever and keep going. It, what mental space are you in past 60 hours, and like what's the mantra that's keeping you going at that point?
I guess one mantra I had was like finisher's mindset, but I don't know what what it really meant, but it's just kind of like do everything like what a finisher would do, you know, like just you know, don't stop like for any stupid reason um or like even like blisters, like I made a pact that I would never drop out because of blisters, like even if they get really bad because those are always temporary, right? And they'll heal, but yeah. So, and
How,
like if I ask myself like, am I at my limit? You know, usually almost always the answer is no.
sure.
Um, but I mean, obviously I was at my limit for some other events, but this time it never really came to it. So
How were your feet on night three? Were they falling apart or are they okay?
no, they're fine. I really figured out I think a good way of taking care of them. So yeah, I guess just to run down. So I guess I taped them up like a lot, like my big toe, pinky toe, and like all around my heels, which definitely helped.
Did you
Um,
tape them up before or after you started getting hot spots?
before, yeah.
Okay, so you just
And
like before the race even started?
yeah, the morning of the before it started, yeah.
What kind of
Just
tape?
the liquid tape,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it worked really well. Um, so yeah, and then another thing I actually used like the small like thin liner socks underneath my ski socks
Mm-hmm.
to start
Oh,
though,
interesting.
and then once we get into the second day and second night, I start just using the ski socks because my feet start swelling up.
Mm,
So then my feet have a little bit more room in the ski boots, I think. And I think that definitely helped a lot um,
yeah.
with blisters.
Interesting. That's a
But yeah, other
good
than that,
strategy.
I guess I just use the like that anti-friction powder
Mm-hmm.
and Foot Glide, which worked really well.
Cool. What when you say worked really well, like did you have any blisters?
Yeah, so I'll probably I'll lose like one big toenail. I got a pretty bad blister underneath my toenail, but I think that just might be because my ski boots are just a little bit too small.
Okay.
But I think that helps with blisters in other places on the foot. So it's kind of like a you win some, you lose some in that way.
Sure.
But yeah, just have minor blisters, you know, on my heels and stuff, but nothing really bad at all.
Mm. And so you're plowing into the third night and the numbers start dwindling pretty significantly. when did it become just you and Jacob? It was pretty near the end, right? The guy in third made it pretty far.
Yeah, I think let's see. I think he quit maybe late
67.
67. So
I'm
that,
looking
that
at
was like
the.
already Monday morning, I think.
Oh wow, wait. Okay, I didn't realize uh how top like Adam. I know Adam. I'm gonna butcher his last name too. Adam Cru
I think it's
Cruzina
Frisna, I think.
Cruzna. He
Yeah.
came in sixth, and that was 48 hours. So you guys went, 23. You went 23 hours after sixth place dropped out,
Yeah.
and by night three, I guess by night three there were still five of you, but it was like four and five pretty much immediately dropped out on night three, and then you, Jacob, and Forrest pushed it pretty far.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think it was kind of crazy. I think um I'm not sure. I think like top six of us, we kind of stayed together for like 12 hours. I think
Uh,
like before Adam dropped. Like let's see, like like late 30s to 48. Like we kind of were the same group. Um, which I know that's kind of just the time to be patient. Kind of
sure.
just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I'm writing down a question for the future because I just thought of one, but I
Yeah.
want to keep going with night three for now. And so once it gets down, it's night or it's lap 67. It goes. It forces out. It's just you and Jacob. Are there any doubts in your mind? Like, are you close at all to your limit, or like how far do you think you could have pushed it?
Um, I don't know. So like at that point when Forrest dropped, it's always um, you know, you feel bad for the whoever dropped, but it's always kind of feels good, just to get one off. But just to keep going, it's kind of like a mental boost in that way. But I think me and Jacob actually skinned some of that lap together.
Mhm.
Um, and I asked him if he wanted to go for the record, and he was down. So it was
Nice.
interesting, kind of just to you know chat a little bit and then get that goal in our heads, kind of.
Yeah, that's cool. And I haven't talked to Jacob. I went to college with Jacob, and we were in the
Oh,
same
awesome.
outing club. So, but I forget. I haven't talked to him. What ended up taking him out?
Um, I think he was having like some digestion issues. But I think he's also just really, really tired.
Yeah.
On that last lap, I think he did that first loop and then he kind of just went inside and um, just laid down.
Yeah, I have a text message from Andrew Drummond that I got after the race. I think I can share this. That said, Jacob Walsh was in absolutely Jacob Walsh was absolutely in primal function mode. He buried himself and was basically unresponsive and was face down on the floor. An hour later, he was trying to figure out what day it was and what was going on. I think that's such a perfect encapsulation of
Yeah.
last year standing. It's so
Yeah.
messed up.
No, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I guess to reframe my well, I don't know if I even reframe it, but it sounds like you still had quite a bit in the tank. Like it sounds like you could have gone over course record if it had been pushed that far. Or at least yeah, I know things can derail pretty quickly and you never know, but
Yeah, I'd like to think I could have. I mean, especially that it wouldn't even have to make it into that fourth night.
right.
You know, I would still have daylight. Um, at that point, I think I was still eating kind of like regular food, like oatmeal, like bananas.
Mm.
So, like I always have like these things that I think about like in my back pocket, like like more of the caffeine, those more gels or something. But
Sure.
if I'm really feeling down or something, or like if I need to take an Advil, which I actually didn't need to take any, which was really surprising for the whole time. But you always have it in your back pocket, kind of if you need it, and kind of just makes you feel better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's nice. Um and so when you did you know that like did Jacob drop before the lab started? Did you know he was out?
Yeah, so it was funny. So I started that lap like on time, and then I think he started a little bit later. Um, he did the loop, and then so there's a kind of a straightaway after you finish that loop to where you go up to finish like do the rest of it. And then I kept looking back just to see if he was gonna make it past that start finish line again. But
Mm.
so by the time I turned into the mountain, like I couldn't see him. So um, I guess I was pretty confident that I thought that was it. But
Yeah, yeah. And what's your emotion when you finish? Are you like do you have the energy to have emotion, or are you just like, all right, I'm going to bed now? What are you like? What is the feeling in that moment?
I guess I was still kind of pretty energized on caffeine at that point, so I wasn't like that tired to be quite honest. Like,
Sure.
obviously, like I wasn't feeling good or like by any stretch of the imagination, but like it was still like not as bad as I felt in like previous events or something. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, it was nice to have that feeling that I still could have done more and like I finished, but you know it wasn't everything I got. You know, it wasn't everything I left out there. I guess makes sense.
Is that feeling of feeling like there's more in the tank going to lead you to come back?
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to come back. No one's finished this event twice, so that'd be definitely a cool thing. But I don't want to think that far ahead just yet.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so
It's been
yeah,
yeah. You basically you're you're basically as far out from the event as the event went time
yeah,
wise. So you
pretty
can
much.
take. God, that's so loony. Um. So okay, some like bigger picture thing. Just because this is a running podcast and I'm a runner, I've always been interested in, and I up until I mean you've done well in previous years, but um there are a whole lot of people who are good at last year standing and at Bubba's. And so I'm interested in your take on a couple of things. One, the 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 age of the top end at these races is quite different. Like the last year standing is dominated by, at least this year, dominated by people in their 20s. Whereas in the past, I guess the Bubba's top end is getting a little bit younger. Like we're in our 20s. Danny's, I think, still in his 20s. I could be wrong. But, traditionally, it's been a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, 50, like Ed's in his 50s. Why do you think it is that the top end of Bubba's has trended older, whereas last year's standing seems to be a younger person's game right now?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Never, I guess, really thought about it, but I know Bubba's definitely more impact on the legs. So that could be a big thing. And then, older people like Ed especially has that stronger mental game than, probably most anyone. So, so yeah, he's definitely developed that and he's pretty rock solid there. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess for like last year standing, it's kind of just like also a mental thing, but also like less impact. So it might not
Yeah.
be like as hard to get out there when
Yeah.
you're feeling bad or something.
Well, so that sort of leads me into my second question, and maybe that's the answer. But why do you think the course record at Bubba's currently is like 45 hours, and obviously 45 hours is just barely starting at last year's standing. So, what is it? Is it just impact, or do you think there are other reasons why last year's standing goes so much longer than Bubba's?
I think the main reason, at least what I think, is that it's the impact, and that you're like actively like damaging your muscles, like when you're running.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're not doing as much of that when you're just, skiing uphill and you're not even taking your legs off the ground, um, which definitely helps. It's kind of more just like a cardiovascular thing instead of a muscular thing at that point. So
Yeah, definitely. I think that's right. Um, I don't know. Do you think there's I mean, I guess if the labs are in the 40s usually in last year's standing, they're not that much quicker than Bubba's. Like I know most people are probably in the 45 to 50-minute range for Bubba's, but you can still spin 40-minute laps pretty easily and get that sleep. So maybe you know I mean, I guess maybe you have to take a lot more pounding to do a fast lap at Bubba's, but yeah, it's interesting. Um, Okay. And then another question I had was, uh, are there any music? Is there any music or podcasts or entertainment that keeps you occupied during a 3 day
Uh,
effort?
Crazily enough, actually, no music at all.
No, you never put
No,
headphones in?
never did now.
Dude, you're psycho. That's crazy
It's
town.
just the swishes of my feet.
Oh my god.
Sometimes like I tried music in the past, and it's gonna sound weird, but it almost like distracts me from like the main goal of like what I'm trying to do. I know it
Sure.
sounds weird when like you think that you want to be distracted, right? Like at night or something, but at least for me, I think it helps to just kind of be just put like all my mind and all my mental energy on that like skinning or skiing.
Hmm.
Just I don't train really with music either, so it's kind of I don't know just the way I do it, but it seemed to work for me. So
Yeah. How do you? There's this perhaps a bigger picture philosophical question about yourself, but how do you see yourself as an athlete? Like when I feel like we sort of have these archetypes of different distance runners and different events. Do you like when you look forward 5, 10 years, what do you see yourself dedicating the most time to in terms of events?
uh, probably trail running, for sure. That's kind of what I do like 75% of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still even run like in the winter, just to keep like the running legs kind of fresh. But uh, yeah, I think the main reason of the ski season is kind of just to give my legs a break from like the high impact and kind of just have some fun. Because by the time the ski season is kind of over, then I'm kind of excited to go back out running and stuff.
Right.
So
Okay, so you're definitely a runner first.
yeah,
It sounds like.
yeah.
And what distance do you feel like is your sweet spot running?
Um, Not that it's my sweet spot, but like the one I like the best is probably 100 miles, I think.
Cool.
Based on what I've done in the past,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think it's just a good like that one night. Um, I've gotten pretty good at planning for it, and it's worked out pretty well in the past. So
Sure.
uh, yeah,
Speaking of 100 milers, it's a good transition into future things because I saw in your ultra sign up that you're signed up for the Run the Whites non-race of the White Mountains 100.
yeah. No, of course. Yeah, it sounds like a fun event. I know Jack did a crazy time on it, so thought it'd be fun to give it a shot myself.
Yeah. Are you planning on going out and racing it as fast as you can?
Yeah, that's a goal. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, um, I am doing the Swiss Alps 100 too, which is about a month before
Mm.
it, and then Bubba's a month after it. So,
Yeah,
um,
you're loaded up.
so this season, yeah, it's kind of more focused on like recovery, kind of seeing how we can deal with recovery between races and stuff. So, um, but yeah, I guess the main reason I'm doing Swiss Alps is just it's a really beautiful course and it's a Hard Rock and Western States qualifier. So,
Gotcha.
so yeah, I just love that race. So
Yeah,
can't
that's
pass it
really
up.
cool. When is that?
Like beginning of August. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Sick. And so yeah, I think this White Mountains 100 event is going to be really interesting because there's going to be there's going to be different groups of people, right? There's going to be people who are going out there to try to complete it, and then there's going to be people who are going out there for speed, and it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, it's not a Jack had crew and pacers that were dedicated to just him. And this is more of like a fat ass kind of race, where I mean, I'm sure people could bring in pacers. I don't know if you're planning on doing that, but my understanding is that Drummond is just offering sort of resupply points. Is that correct?
yeah. I think he said there's like 5 drop bags, and yeah, I haven't had pacers in the past really for like 100 milers. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I really need them. Or not that, like I'm sure they'd help obviously, but it's not like a requirement that I have for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm excited to give it a shot. And I know the terrain is definitely a lot different than like what I've done like in the Swiss Alps or something. So
sure.
just be interesting to apply it here. because like in Swiss Alps, it's kind of just like longer climbs, longer descents. Here, it's probably like smaller ones, but more of them. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's interesting. So I don't I'm running a race in the Alps this summer. I don't think I'm ready to put it on the pod yet, but that's like one thing that I've been digging into with it is, yeah, the climbs out there are like you'll get very similar numbers of vert, but it's out here on a 100 miler you'll have 20 climbs to get that amount of vert, and then out there it'll be like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
but each climb will be you'll have 5 or 6 climbs with like 6,000 feet each of climbing. It's different. It's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
In your experience, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I really don't know which one is easier though, too. It's kind of hard to say.
What do you think of the terrain out there versus here? Because I've heard various things about the technicality out there versus here.
It's probably less technical in the Alps, at least that one that I'm doing. But here I know it's like super rocky, like as we all know.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's pretty well packed trails. Like there are a few sections where it's obviously pretty technical, but
Sure.
it's not like never ending rocks like it is here.
Okay, that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know. Because I'm very interested to see how the paces add up on similar grades. Because I do think you pay a I mean, we'll see if I'm right or wrong. I think you pay a pretty significant penalty for the terrain here with
Oh, yeah,
just like
for
how
sure.
technical it is. Um, cool. And then Bubba's after that. So how quickly after Bubba's did you decide that you were coming back?
Uh, pretty quickly. I know I had a problem with my IT band last year,
Mm,
which really is kind of annoying. It took me out, but thankfully didn't bother me at last gear standing. But yeah, I've been
hmm
doing like a lot of strength and stretching, which I probably should have done more before.
Sure.
But yeah, I think um, I probably should be able to handle that and have it not come back. I'm pretty
Cool.
hopeful.
Yeah, I'll be. Uh, at least from what I saw, it seems like the field is pretty. I mean, I know that people trickle in, but as far as I could tell, like Danny wasn't on the list. I'm not doing it. Uh, Ed's not signed up, as far as I know. Brian's not signed up. It's gonna be interesting. What do you think? Uh, like how far do you think you could take it if provided that your body holds up?
Um, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that right now, but
Yeah.
like Ed said, I know I'd really want to make it through that second night. I think
Hmm.
that'd be a good not first goal, but like goal just to have
Totally.
at the end of the tunnel.
For sure. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see your year. That's a loaded couple of months there. It's gonna be really
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Should be a good time.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, is there anything about last year's standing or about your efforts coming up that you wanna let the people know or that we've missed?
I don't know. I think pretty much got it all covered. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so I
Sweet.
appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on. Where can the people follow your adventures?
It's mostly on Strava. I'm gonna try to, I guess, be better about posting on my Instagram. LucasJ.11 with like Lucas with a K. But yeah, hopefully I'm gonna try to get better at posting on my stories and stuff. But I haven't really done that in the past. But
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I feel that. It's story Instagram's tough, man. I don't want to post.
yeah. No, it's just kind of want to be out there.
Yeah,
But no,
I
it's
feel
good.
that. Where's your I was about to end the episode, but I just am curious now. Where's your usual stomping grounds? What do you train on?
So I actually recently just moved to Gorham, New
Oh,
Hampshire. So
awesome.
so it's
Dude,
nice. Yeah. I
that's
mean, what
amazing.
what better place can you have than that? But no, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
great.
Where were you before?
In Manchester, New
Oh,
Hampshire.
okay.
So
Yeah, I've spent some I had a couple clinical rotations in the Concord, Manchester area, and it is not ideal for mountain running.
yeah, yeah. The one place was like not mountain running, but like trail running was like that Massabesic, if you're familiar with that, like Lake
Not.
Massabesic or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few trails, but yeah, no, it's definitely a lot better here
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for sure.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, super excited to see what comes this year. Congrats on last year's standing. That was just an absolutely silly effort. I can't, I cannot imagine. Oh God. I can't imagine how painful that was, but yeah, you killed it, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Cool. All right. We'll see you guys all in the next episode. Peace out.